Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Rich. I've never done this on an iPad, so I'm not sure who's on. I know I'm coming on a little early out here at Mike's house. Just got an alert on my phone that we are live. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Let's see. Will is on. Good morning, Will. I said we're on a little early. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on my phone here. Jared is on. Rasmic is on. Jocko out in South Africa is on. Chad is on. Good morning, guys. We are here in Oklahoma this morning, teaching a firearms instructor development class, wrapping it up. Been on the range in the blistering heat of Oklahoma since Monday. Just trying to stay hydrated, Mike and I. He will be out here in just a second. If you're a coin member of the American Warrior Society, let me know what coin number you are. Looks like we got 18 people on. Thank you for joining me, and thank you to those that have watched the replay. Rasmus says good morning. Josh says good morning. I'm reading my phone here. Josh says good morning. And good morning. I want to talk to you like we got the new American Warrior show is out today. Well, it came out I think Monday with Todd Jarrett. Todd Jarrett's a professional shooter, an amazing shooter, and please check that out. Steve Miller is on. Gilly in the Philippines is on. Good morning. Let me know where you're at, where you're from this morning. Like I said, we've been out here in the sun teaching a firearms instructor development class, and we're gonna talk a little bit about mentoring shooters.
I'm live right now on Facebook. I got nice
as well as some other stuff.
Oh, Ellie's on this morning. Bill's on this morning. What are you doing out here, Rich?
I'm running Coffee with Rich.
Well, I'm running Coffee with Mike.
Good morning. Coffee with Mike, huh?
Wow. So you're live and I'm live.
And you're live. How weird
I'm
is
having
that?
coffee too. Hey, Phil Strader's on mine. Say hi to Phil Strader.
Good to see you, Phil.
Jason's on this morning. Good morning, Jason. Doug is on. How are you, Doug? Nice to see you. 33 people on. You got 34. Hey, come on, folks, share this. We're live right now on the American Warrior Society page and the Shooting Performance page. Donald's on this morning. I'm probably stealing some of your coffee.
I think you are.
Rich people. You got 35. Hold on. Let's see who's ahead right now. Hey, if you're on the Shooting Performance page, you got to share this. Oh, I'm at 39, dude. Look at this. I'm kicking butt, taking names.
Guys, Coffee with Rich,
33.
come on.
We're beating. Hey, we're live on two different pages. I got 41 people. Look, Oli is on. Good morning. Hi, Oli. But you got John on. Look, you got John and Gilly's on this morning.
Yeah.
You got all the coin members on.
Good dudes.
All the hardcore members on this morning. Did Phil Strader say die? Hey, anyways, if you are on the Shooting Performance page real quick, just continue your thing with it right now. We are live. Actually, we've got a second live stream going on right now. If you're on right now, I'm actually going to switch over to the American Warrior Society page. We're getting ready for an instructor course this morning. It's a beautiful...
Today we're going to be having the teach backs on the range where the students actually have to give back 1 hour block of instruction. They have to teach it. Mike and I evaluate them. Mike more or less gives them the feedback on, guys, here's what you did wrong with managing a range. Here's a better way, a safer way. I didn't like what you said about this technique. Maybe let's try this. And whereas I talk about the structure, did they do the what, why, how? Well, we're going to talk about why is it so important? Because the adult learner really needs to know why and how you're going to deliver that instruction. And then we're going to talk, then we go in and break down, did they use Pesos, one of the models for instruction that Mike and I use in the book, his book, The Art of Instruction, which I wrote a chapter in. If you're interested in that, check it out on Amazon, The Art of Instruction by Mike Seeklander. And Pesos is one of the models that we use for how to give a professional block of instruction. P is prepare, E is explain, show, observe, and supervise. So we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning before we have to take off, and hopefully give you something to think about when you're teaching your kids to tie their shoes, or teaching your spouse to shoot a handgun. Jay is on. Good morning, Jay. Kevin is on. John, got 35 folks. Good morning and welcome back to Mr. Mike Seeklander.
I'm really happy to be here. So I told all of the hardcore folks over at Shooting Performance to join us here on the American Warrior Center page.
I appreciate
So
that.
who's on over here? You got 34 people. I told them our goal was 120 live viewers.
Oh, wow.
Hey, one of the things that that Rich always asks you to do is share. So do us a favor, please share this. If you are, by the way, if you're one of my Shooting Performance Training Addicts member, go to that Training Addicts page. I think we have almost 5,000 people. Share this live stream on the Training Addicts page if you would. A couple times. Have you hit 100 before live viewers?
Yeah, one time.
So one time we hit 100 live viewers. So our goal this morning is to beat 100. So we beat 106. What should we give away? How about this? If we beat 106 live viewers, I can give away at least one full prize package of the Precision Holsters holster.
Oh, wow.
So we can give a full holster mag pouch away to whoever the winner is. We'll randomly select a winner, and then maybe a couple other things, like maybe the books of your choice, a hard copy books of your choice. We'll send you an entire book package. All you got to do is tell other folks in groups to jump on this morning. So anyways, your show, man. Take it away.
You're the guest, brother. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Rich, Mike.
Good morning.
Like I told the guys here, we're going to be talking about leading and mentoring new shooters, instructors, maybe managing AIs and stuff like that. And first thing I'd ask you is, what's the most important thing when you think of leading, teaching, and coaching new shooters?
Leading, teaching, and coaching new shooters. Here's the deal. I think as instructors, if you're an instructor and you teach a lot of times, your mind automatically defaults to, okay, I got to teach them how to grip the gun better and how to shoot the gun better and how to reload the gun better and how to do whatever you teach. And it doesn't matter if you're a high school teacher or if you teach edge weapons or if you teach firearms, but the bottom line is before you do any of that stuff, you've got to establish some sort of credibility, number one, and you've got to establish the fact with the students that you care about them. You have to build a relationship because, we've been running this instructor course all week, as you probably know. Rich has probably mentioned that. But if you don't develop that relationship, they don't know, man, I care about you and I'm willing to help you. It doesn't matter what you want to teach, they're not going to listen to what you have. So I think developing a relationship with the student is probably the first thing. In terms of teaching, because I think you just mentioned it, teaching is leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And it's also a little bit about salesmanship. And this is something that you and I have been developing over probably 10 or 15 years now, how selling plays into instruction. Can you talk a little bit about that?
If for those of you that remember, I know Phil Strader might be on this page watching right now, but back in the day, I moved to Tulsa area to run the U.S. Shooting Academy. And one of the first things we did with our instructor team, and by the way, we got 67 live people on, so we're going to hit 100, and we're going to give a full precision holsters setup away. If we got to beat 106. That's your goal. If we don't beat 106, we're not going to do it. So take a second here when I'm done talking to share. And I know the video pauses when we share sometimes, so we'll do a share break here in a second. So let me answer the question. What was the question?
The question was how salesmanship factors into instruction.
So in the original instructor team, Rich will tell you this, when we were doing our instructor training program, one of the core pieces of that week's training was sales. So we brought you in and you actually taught a sales course. And here's the interesting thing about that. All of these instructors are type A personalities. They want to teach shooting, they want to teach guns, they were from the military, law enforcement, elite level instructors. And they got a kind of a weird feeling about sales when we started talking about sales. But the real truth is if you're an instructor and you're trying to teach your family member or your students something, you are selling that material. Mm-hmm. So we didn't teach sales to try to sell a class, for example. We taught a sales component so those instructors were better at selling the material. It's always better to sell your students on something versus tell your students on something. Yeah. And that's super important.
Because you're in salesmanship, the bottom line is I'm getting them to exchange something for something else. Like if I sold you a pair of sneakers, you're exchanging your money for the sneakers. Here, you're exchanging your old habit for a newer, better habit, but I have to sell you on why my technique is better than whatever you came to class with. So that's one way to think about it. I want to shift gears a little bit about off mentoring and coaching new students. How about mentoring, coaching your assistant instructors, fellow instructors?
Okay, that's a good one. That's a big one. Hey, before I answer that question about mentoring fellow instructors, did you ask how many coin members do we have on? Who's the lowest coin number? Hey, if you're a coin member, I want you to do me a favor and type in the comments your coin number. I want to find out who the lowest coin member is on right now. And number two, if you're an ACSS member as well, welcome, good morning. And I just saw that Lee, by the way, for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And Phil Strader says, comfort is a key. If the student's comfortable, they're more susceptible to learn. Yeah, very interesting. Hey, here's the deal. If you're a coin member, put your coin number up there. I want to see who the lowest one is. And right now, I'm going to answer his question, but do me a favor and share this live stream, which, by the way, it's actually kind of a neat light condition. Maybe I should do my lives out here sometimes. The sun is coming up over the trees over there, and so we'll do a quick share and coffee break. I see most of you jumped over. We hit 67, folks. Come on, we got to hit 106. Please do it. Right? We got to do it. Jay,
188.
Jay is 188. Jay is the lowest coin number so far right now.
Yeah.
Kevin Park 1334. Sorry, Jay, is that 188? Are we sure about that, Jay? Not 1888? Because if you're 188, that's awesome. I think he is actually 188.
Absolutely, I think so.
Yeah, he's in the 3 digits. If you're in the 3-digit coin number, now Jared's old school too, 895. That's pretty old, actually. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, that is.
Who else? And by the way, shout out to the ACSS coin members. So
I want to talk to Phil's point though about making them comfortable, man. You know, on Monday we had the room that we were supposed to have locked on, and there was COVID restrictions, and we're teaching the class in Little Pryor Creek, Oklahoma. So our choices for where to actually do the classroom setup was limited to just a few hotels.
Yeah.
And the hotel that we got, air condition wasn't working in the conference room. So to Phil's point, we had to call an audible and move out into the lobby where the air condition actually worked. So you're right, Phil. If they're miserable in the environment, are they going to learn? Probably not. The other thing is, when it comes to the comfortability, is making them feel safe so they don't feel like, you know, I'm comfortable, I'm safe, I know the instructor's going to take care of me. It goes back to caring for your students.
Shannon, ACSS, I see you. I just saw Massachusetts jump on, by the way. Jeff Brown, coin number 2.5, he says. I want to see 2.5 on your coin, Jeff Brown. We'll see about that. Hey, we're at 70. You did great. Whoever clicked that share button, these normally take a little bit of time, but we're at 73. We're going to hit our goal this morning. So whoever hit share and put it in the groups, keep doing that because we're going to hit 126. So in answer to your question, I want to give you a real quick tip. He asked about assistant instructors. How do you mentor other instructors? And Phil Strader's on. Phil and I used to teach together. So I used to have to put a little collar on Phil and like kind of pull him along because he always wanted to just start going crazy on the range. No, just kidding, Phil. You know I love you, man. But the point is, if you are the lead, if you're in charge, ultimately you're responsible. So if you have an assistant instructor or coaching instructors that are helping you, you got to communicate what you want them to do. When I've taught with Rich, or I've taught with Phil Strader, I've taught with any of the instructors at the U.S. Shooting Academy, or anybody in any of my programs, I was always very specific in telling them what I expected. It wasn't one of those deals where if you have other instructors where you're going to show up on the range or in the classroom and just accept the fact that they know what to do. That's not the case. Tell them what you want them to do. Tell them if you want them to help, pick up the material from the instructor guide. Tell them if you want them to, be in a position where they have to teach something. Tell them what they have to teach. So you always have to prep your assistant instructors completely. So, by the way, hey, Tim Farron, get it? Not Phil. You know what Tim Herron is? Tim Herron is this skinny little single stack 1911 shooter that's
that Tim Herron
beating everybody now. He's trying to beat us all at single stack nationals last year. Good morning, Tim. How are you?
Yeah, and one of the key tenets, and we see the student instructors this week on the range, is they're talking over each other. If Mike's talking, I'm not talking. If I'm talking, Mike's not talking. Something as simple as that. And do you or I ever contradict each other?
All the time.
In front of the students?
No. You can't teach one thing and then your co-instructor, assistant instructor down the line is teaching a completely different technique, right? It's bad.
It's bad.
Horrible.
Very confusing.
Bad. Rich and I have facial hair. Elke, are you saying I don't have facial hair? I have facial hair.
Rich and I have facial hair, yeah.
Phil Strader, how come you read the comments there? Can you not read those?
I can't see it.
You can't see it all the way over here?
No, I have to do this.
How many fingers am I holding up right here?
I see 2 fingers.
How many fingers right here? Hey, folks, 70. We're so close. I know I'm pushing this share hard, but I want to see 100 some. Rich normally doesn't push the shares as much as I do. Share this sucker. Come on, Rich, Elke, share it in groups. We want to hit 100. That's my goal this morning. If I don't hit 100, I could be sleeping right now. That's not true. We got to go to class.
Jason says, what's wrong with a single stack 1911?
Nothing. Nothing's wrong with single stack 1911.
2 things, jack and squat.
It's the ultimate gun, Jason. It's the ultimate awesome gun, by the way.
Hey, when it comes to shooters...
Oh, so Elke's saying...
What is he saying?
Because you have the same facial hair.
Oh, yeah.
You have this...
I like it.
I don't know if I'm down with that.
So, what about... We talk a lot about some of the things in class, like as far as following a structure. pesos. You like EDIP. Can you tell me about why an instructor should use a structure, or is that important or not as important?
Yeah, that's a great question. Notice how I complimented the questioner, right? So here's the deal with following structure. A lot of you on this live stream probably instruct right now. If you do instruct, what you need to understand is your ability to communicate as an adult is super important, but there is a structure to instructing. Just like there's a structure to shooting, there's a structure to shooting a basketball, there's a structure to golfing, there's a structure to everything we do. And if you find that structure, or maybe learn that structure in a course like we're teaching right now, the FIDC course, what you're going to find is the structure will continually guide you and keep you on track as an instructor. And more importantly, it's going to make the quality of what you instruct that much better. You can probably randomly communicate the facts that you're trying to communicate to your students, but if you follow a structure, which is some sort of introduction, we call it the what, why, how, and then sort of the instructional block. Once again, Rich and I teach two different methods. One's called EDIP, one's called pesos. They're very similar. They're just different acronyms. We give the students the choice. And then what we call a RAC, which is repeat, answer, and confirm on a question. Those are instructional structures. And then the meat and the potatoes are inside those structures. So if we are actually teaching with a structure, number one, our job is going to be easier, and number two, the material is going to be better for our student. And here's the deal, folks. If you're listening to this right now, you're like, I'm not really sure of what he means by structure. Go to Amazon and buy my book, Art of Instruction. I'm not trying to sell the book, but you will see the structure in it. It's a bang-up deal. It's not that expensive. Matter of fact, if you're a Coin member or an ACSS member, I think ACSS has it listed, the PDF is free. Just log in, go to the bottom. It's one of those free bonuses. Check it out. The structure of instructing is in there. By the way, we're about to hit 80. So whoever just shared, Phil Strader just shared, thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Phil.
We're at 81 right now. We're going to hit 100 and something, I think. So we'll wait for another 3 or 4 minutes, folks, and share. Feel free to, by the way, text someone. If you are text friends or email friends, send it to your email buddies right now and tell them to get on the live stream. We're doing some Q&A for instructor training.
So we start out with the instructor has to tell him who he is, establish instructor credibility. Why should I listen to you? Then they're going to give the what, why, how, what we're going to talk about. Why is it important to you as the adult learner? We said that's one of the most important persons. One of the most important things is explaining why you need to listen and have this class. How we're going to deliver the material. A lot of student instructors get confused on that, don't you think?
Yeah, the what, why, how, and then the block of instruction is a serious bump in the road. So when we teach instructing, and by the way, if you're just joining us, we got 85 live people on. Some of you may have seen us share and just jumped in. My name is Mike Seeklander. This is Rich Brown. We're actually doing a live stream on instructor training tips. So in other words, how to be a better instructor, whether you're a father instructor that teaches your kids, or you mentor a football team, or you're a firearms instructor, or maybe a college professor,
BJJ.
Or a BJJ instructor. If you are listening to this, you can learn from what we have to say here. By the way, if you haven't listened to the beginning when this is done, rewind and listen to it. So the structure of instructing, if I have a block of instruction, like how to open this garage door right here, if I'm going to teach you that, I would introduce the material first. I would say, hey folks, Mike here, we're going to talk about opening the garage door this morning. Why? So that's the what. Why? Why is that important? Well, it's important because if you want to get in the garage and park your car before the hailstorm gets here, you got to be able to open the garage door. How? I'm actually going to do a demonstration. I'm going to show you how to open the garage door, right? And then I'm actually going to have you practice opening the garage door. So all I did was introduce the block of instruction. Mm-hmm. Then I would teach it. And I think that's what Rich is referring to. A lot of our students get confused with here's the introduction of the instructional block, and then we teach it. They're two separate entities, right?
Absolutely. And like you said, by explaining the how and lets the student know what their role in the learning process is going to be. Now I know if I'm sitting in the classroom, oh, okay, here in a minute, Mike's going to have me get up and I'm going to actually open and close the garage door. Something as simple as that. And one of the things we talked about is that, like, well, tell me this, because it kind of rolls into introducing training aids. One of the things that the student instructor stumble with is they presume that in a new shooter class, if I introduce a blue gun and start waving it around, that everyone in the class is going to know that it's an inert plastic blue gun. But not everyone knows that. You have to make people feel safe by introducing the material. Can you talk about that?
So, you know, a blue plastic gun, like Rich is referring to, a red plastic gun, a SIRT pistol, or all these different training tools that, I'm speaking to the firearms instructors, okay? Mm-hmm. or maybe the fathers, mothers, mentors. When you're teaching your students, one of the things that you assume is that everybody knows the things that you know. That's not the case. So when you pick up a blue pistol, because by the way, there are lots of blue guns out there and red guns because everybody's painting their gun. They have all these weird paint schemes on the firearms. So when you pick up that demonstration piece and assume that everybody knows it's a plastic pistol, that's not the case. You know, when I pick up a SIRT pistol and I demo it with the students, and a couple of the students from the FIDC are on the live stream right now, I introduce the SIRT pistol. Hey folks, this is a SIRT pistol. This is a non-firing SIRT pistol. I tell them what the SIRT stands for, or this is a non-firing plastic red gun or blue gun, because one of the things we can't do in terms of instruction is assume. Don't assume your students know what you're demonstrating with. Tell them. Introduce it to them. By the way, we got 82. We're back up to 86. Whoever just shared again, thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining us. We're at 90 right now. If those of you that are hardcore that have not shared want to click the share button one more time, put it on your wall, put it in a group. We're going to meet our goal of 107. We have to hit 107. If we hit 107, we're giving free stuff away, by the way. And I see Donald's on, Shannon's on.
Yeah, Shannon says, whether it's inert or real, treat it as if it's a real loaded gun. What do you think about that? Treat it as if it's a real loaded gun.
So that's a great question. In terms of being an inert or a real gun, if it's inert, I'm going to treat it as if it's a real gun. If it's a SIRT pistol, I'm going to treat it as if it's a real gun, with the exception that there might be things I'm going to teach with that inert piece of equipment in the class because it's inert. So when I say that is, the reason I have a gun in my hand that's plastic or a SIRT pistol is because I need to demonstrate things with that gun, maybe in a manner that I would not do with a live fire handgun, which is why I introduced it and said this is a non-firing handgun. And let me give you an example. If we're working on distance, right? Maybe distance to the threat in a defensive handgun class, I might use in that class an inert plastic pistol to demonstrate a shooting position, or maybe the extended position versus the compressed position in relation to distance in that defensive class. If I have a plastic pistol, if I have a SIRT pistol, and I've introduced it as a training tool, oftentimes I will then say, as Rich has seen, hey, does anybody mind if I point my red gun at you? Because there's some things that I need to point the gun at you. For example, I do a weapon retention block. In a weapon retention block, the gun is going to be pointed at our body or our partner's body. That's the only way they're going to grab the gun. So if we've established the fact that, hey, this is a red inert pistol, and you're okay with me pointing at you, then I could teach that material, if that makes sense. Okay?
Yeah. Let's see. Elke says, saying, quote, that's a great question, is overused in my opinion. It may also be a way to buy time to formulate an answer. To Elke's point, though, you mentioned a minute ago about rack, Mike. Can you explain what rack is and why it's important, why we use it?
Yeah, so when we answer a question, we will use a term called rack. It stands for repeat, answer, and confirm that you answer the question. Elke says, hey, that's a great question, is overused. It might be overused, but here's the deal. If you're an experienced instructor, you're going to use whatever you're going to use because you have that experience. But for a new instructor, utilizing a tool like, hey, that's a great question, or what I often do is, interesting, or I may say something different. I don't say the exact same thing, but I would tell all the instructors that listen to this right now, if you are new, don't reinvent something. That's okay to overuse it. You know, Elke, I would tell those new instructors to overuse that technique to give them a chance to formulate the question. I guarantee the students don't say, oh, wow, that's overused. No, they're actually complimented. And when I say, like yesterday, I had some questions at the end of the day, and I'm like, man, that's a great question. That's a really good question. Those are facts. Those are honest statements for me in terms of what the students were asking. They were asking some in-depth questions about where I index under the trigger guard and where I prep the trigger, and they were like literally really great questions. So whether or not the instructor is using it to formulate an answer or really wants to compliment the questioner, I don't think that they're necessarily overused. Of course, if you're robotic and you do the same thing over and over again, or if you have pet words, yeah, certainly that might be overused.
Yeah, because part of the RACC, repeat, answer, confirm that it got answered, and then the last C might be crediting, although I think you're right, Elke, we don't always say, man, that's a great question. But if it is truly a great question, I think that's fine to do it. I believe it was Jason that said, experiential learning embeds that knowledge. And one of the things I would throw to Mike is when it comes to the student learning through experience. Mike, can you teach someone how to shoot a gun through PowerPoint?
No.
Okay, tell us about that.
We actually had a great question in class, in students in class. And by the way, if you're just jumping on, good morning. We see some teachers on. I see the comments right there. I don't want to touch that comments. If you're jumping on this morning because you saw a share, welcome. My name is Mike Seeklander. This is Rich Brown. We are with the American Warrior Society and the American Competitive Shooter Society, and we're talking about FIDC, stands for Firearms Instructor Development Course. We're teaching that course this week. You have to, if you want to teach someone how to swing a baseball bat, what do you have to do? You have to put a baseball bat in their hands. If you want to teach someone how to shoot a pool shot in their quarter pocket, what do you have to do? You have to put a pool cue in their hand. Same thing with gun. And one of the things that I found is in one of my initial classes when I worked at the federal level, we used to have a 4-hour block of instruction in the classroom. We used to do a very deliberate and detailed PowerPoint, right? And it had pictures and videos and all this cool stuff. And then we would go to the range and put handguns in the students' hands. And what I found was that big 4-hour block of instruction with an awesome PowerPoint and a great instructor did two things. Jack and SHIT when they got to the range. We should have skipped it. We did that. We eventually ended up skipping that material and going straight to the range and saying, okay, stand in front of me. Here, let me put a gun in your hand, in a safe manner. And the learning went up dramatically. People have to do, right?
Yeah, they have to do. Nova's got a great point here. It says, in my classroom, my high school English classroom, I like to restate the question if I am at all confused about what they are asking. It helps clarify any misunderstandings. And to his point, one of the things we talk about, if you're confused, okay, we want to repeat the question. That's the first R in RAC, repeat the student's question. But if you're confused, you need to establish what we call the kookamoo, a clear, complete, mutual understanding between me and the student learner. What are you asking? So sometimes I may need to probe them a little bit by asking open and closed questions to elicit them so that I fully understand what they're asking me. Because the last thing I think we want to do is start answering a question when we got the wrong question to begin with.
I totally agree. Yeah. Make sure you understand what they're trying to figure out. If you don't, then you're just wasting time. You're just talking to talk, and we don't want to do that, by the way. David has a good question there. David, best way to get someone to relax and build their confidence. David, that communication, that adult communication model, if you're communicating effectively, oftentimes that in itself will relax your students because they have built a relationship with you, and now there's trust. We talked a lot about in the FIDC class, trust. Once you build that trust, oftentimes that automatically relaxes students. That's number one. We got to build trust. We got to develop a relationship. Then we can start teaching them the hard stuff. And by the way, I saw your comment, Phil Strader, about swinging a bat at my head.
I'm cracking
I'm not sure what that means. Hey, we didn't hit our goal yet this morning, folks. If you have a chance, if you would share this. If you're interested in learning more about us, there's some links in the description. You can click on those links later on after you watch this sucker. Please click those links. Defensive hand. Can I talk about an online defensive hand?
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick, just please, I'm not trying to sell it, but we have 2 slots left, maybe 3 slots left for wherever you are in the defensive handgun online course I'm teaching this weekend. The lecture starts on Saturday. We're going to do it Saturday early afternoon. It's a 4-hour lecture. Then there are 5 weeks of mentorship and an assignment. And the folks that have taken my on-range course have said to me they thought that the online course was better than the on-range course because it wasn't like drinking from a fire hose. Some of you know that have taken any of my classes or Phil's class or Rich's classes. Sometimes 2 days is just a lot of material. So if you know someone that might want to sign up for defensive handgun online, go to shooting-performance.com, click on instructor-led training, and then sign up. Or some of you might be interested. Please help me share that. I got a few more slots left. I would appreciate that. Rich said if I got on this morning, I could do it. Jeff Brown says he's showing 109 viewers.
I didn't see that.
We don't see 109 viewers, Jeff.
Yeah.
We see 69. Is he doing that?
You messing with me, bro?
Is he doing that?
Jeff Brown is my brother, man. Love you, buddy.
This is not, we're not, how's that Star Wars thing go?
These are not the droids you're looking for.
These are not the droids you're looking for. Jeff, I don't see 109. You're crazy, man.
Jeff, as a matter of fact, one of our students this week is a guy who's from Virginia Beach. I'll have to hook y'all up. Retired Navy guy. Good guy. Hey, Mike, what is the biggest mistake you see instructors making out there today?
Wow, probably overteaching. Like overteaching, overcoaching is is a huge mistake. And what I mean by that is if we've given them a skill, like I'm going to teach you a skill, maybe it's gripping the handgun. And then with that skill, we probably have a drill to work on gripping the handgun. Instructors tend to want to give too many details in the skill itself, and as the students are doing their repetitions of the drill, they come up to every student, maybe a newer instructor, and they overcorrect. Hey, you need to fix this. You can't do that. Your students need one or two things to focus on. That's all they can focus their mind on. They can't focus their mind on 10 things. So I think new instructors probably make the mistake of over-teaching, over-coaching more often than not.
You know, your answer, Mike, remind me of one of the things that we see when we turn the students loose. You're going to have to give 1 hour block of instruction on the range and be evaluated by Mike and I and your peer and student instructors. One of the things we say is pick a subject to teach, come back and ask us if this is an appropriate subject to teach. And a lot of times they come to us and want to teach a drill. Do you think that's a confusion as to what they're supposed to be doing?
You know, that's a great question. See, I just complimented the questioner. That makes them feel good. I think this is why we do this in the firearms instructing world, because there are so many Instagrammers out there, Facebookers, YouTubers, shooters that are just attached to a drill. Hey, I want to do the 5x5. Well, the 5x5 is actually a skills test by Bill Wilson, but I want to do the 2-2-1-2 drill, or I want to do the I don't know. I can't even think of drills. People unfortunately focus so much on drills because drills are oftentimes they're fast. You know, if I can do 88 shots in 2 seconds. But the problem is with that is, as instructors and as students, we need to always think, what am I trying to work on? What is the skill I'm trying to work on right now? Like if you look at how a guy like Rob Latham trains, I was going to say Phil Strader, but he doesn't train all. He's too lazy. So if you look at how Rob Latham trains, or maybe even myself, we would set up a target and set up a specific skill that we're trying to work on. Maybe it's, you know, managing the recoil and the gun direction at distance. So now I might set up a 25 or a 30-yard target and literally just work on firing shots on that target. It's as simple as that. But the point is, if you heard what I just said, I initially designated the skill that I'm going to work on, and then I produced a drill to do that. So if you look at any of my programs that I've developed, I always define the skills. Hey, here's the skill we're working on. Then we have a drill to work on that skill. A lot of folks think the opposite. You know, we're in the internet age, right? Yep. So everybody's on Instagram. Everybody looks cool, and they want to do all this craziness. You know, here's the 3x3x3 drill that I can do in 3 seconds. Who cares about that? What are we working on? We actually had a student group yesterday that taught a theory versus an actual skill, and it caught them a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with theories and stuff like that. So anyways, there's a question. Brett Park, how many chances can you give a person while also trying to keep live fire class safe? Brett, if you're asking about how many safety chances, for a minor safety infraction, I will give a warning. I might give a second warning for a minor safety infraction. If it's a major safety infraction, like they shot in the ground next to their foot, or they muzzled themselves with a live firearm, like maybe for an appendix carrier, I will talk to them and potentially remove them from class immediately. If there's a possibility they can hurt themselves or others, I'm going to remove them from class. If they're minor safety issues, I'm going to give them 1 to 2 warnings. Excuse me. If they don't heed those 1 to 2 warnings, then they're out, right?
Okay, Mike, we're running out of time here. I got time for one more question for you. This is something we've talked with the new students. When Monday came and the new students arrived, one of the things we did was flip-flop the blocks of instruction. Normally we start in a classroom, start teaching them how to teach, and then we go and Mike takes them to the range and we do a 4 or 5 hour block of instruction on the range. We flip-flop, we started on the range immediately, and once we got safety out of the way, Mike took them through some extended prep and press and some other things like that, skills drills. But what we found was not all the people that showed up should be instructing because of their skills and abilities. And we talked to the students about you can't buy skill. Can you talk to that?
So,
as it pertains to instructors.
So I think actually Phil just mentioned this a second ago. He talked about don't ever teach skills you can't demonstrate, right? I think it's super important, right? One of the things that I learned from Rorion Gracie, right, the guy that started the UFC, and they used to have an instructor training program that I went through for a short period of time, but one of the best or most masterful instructors I've ever worked with. But one of the things that Rorion Gracie would oftentimes say is you have to have a deep pool of knowledge and the ability to execute that knowledge. So in jiu-jitsu, you know, it was you have to know more than the other guy and be able to do it on the mats. There are two things, because there are a lot of folks right now, because once again, we're on the internet, right? Anybody could be an expert on Instagram. Anybody can be an awesome shooter on Instagram after they replay or refilm the clip 18 different times. How many of those people show up at an actual major match and can demonstrate that skill, or on the range and can demonstrate that skill among a bunch of other really good shooters? That's much more rare. But if you are instructing, you don't have to be the best at what you're instructing, but you have to be competent. You have to have skill. If you don't have skill, that's your fault. That simply means you're lazy. You're not willing to work, because every human has the ability, because literally information is a fingertip away. Every bit of information ever produced is a second or two away from you. So you can get the information and learn more about the skill. If you're not willing to put the work in and do the repetitions and practice a skill, then you shouldn't be instructing.
Yeah. And I think we can leave it at that. Thank you to the 80-something folks that were on this morning, and to everyone that's going to watch it on a replay. Thank you for everyone that shared coffee with Rich this morning. Thank you to Mr. Mike Seeklander for being a guest this morning. We need to get to the range, Mike.
Yeah, we need to get to the range, folks. Hey, nice to see you. In that description, you're going to see some links to some information. Once again, for those of you that are watching this later on, any interest in jumping online with me this weekend and doing defensive handgun, there are still some slots left, not many. So if you want to jump in, please jump in sooner than later. And if you watch us later on and you appreciate some of the instructor-related tips we gave you, do us a favor, please share it. Hey, Quinn members, have a great day. Shout out to you. If you're FIDC student right now, which a couple of you are, we'll see you here in a little while.
Let me give a quick plug, Mike. I'm sorry. Our sponsor today is Appalachian Standard. Please check out Appalachian Standard. There's a link below, and we've got a really awesome discount for everybody that's watching this morning, so check them out. CBD products that I use daily, the salves, all the stuff that I use to help my joints, help me sleep, everything you can get from Appalachian Standard.
Phil Strader wants a punch demo. Does he mean you? Boom! See you guys.